Anybody know the actor Taraji P. Henson? Played in I Can Do Bad All By Myself. This is her grandfather, Matthew P. Henson, the first human being to stand at the North Pole. North Pole is the coldest place on earth. He set out with a group of Europeans and other folk to set out as an explorer to be the first person to stand at the North Pole. He was the first one to get there. The others didn't make it. Here's the first black man to reintroduce the belief in one God in ancient Kemet. The belief in one God is African. It doesn't come from Christianity. It doesn't come from Islam. It doesn't come from the Hebrews. It comes from the Africans of the Nile Valley, the first people God put down here on earth. This is Pharaoh Akhenaten, King Tut's father-in-law. King Tut was married to one of the children fathered by Pharaoh Akhenaten and his wife Nefertari, not to be confused with Queen Nefertiti. This black man wrote a book of Psalms, the Psalms of Akhenaten, that many biblical scholars believe are the Psalms of David. They say the Psalms of David in the Bible are word for word identical to the Psalms of Akhenaten, so many people believe that the Psalms of David in the Bible were plagiarized. Does that have anything to do with your religion? Nope. We're just talking about one text that had been modified and played with. For example, in the 5 books of Moses, we know that Genesis was the last of the 5 to be written. So if it was one of the last of the 5 to be written, how could it have been the first book? Study your history, please. You don't have to give up your religion, but you may have to give up your version of it. Why do most African kings and queens wear king cobra right here on the third eye? Why is the king cobra right there at the pineal gland? Because if I take your brain out of your skull, your brain will be attached to your spinal cord. The human brain is in the shape of the head of a cobra. The spinal cord is in the shape of the body of the cobra. The cobra represents African intelligence. Your intelligence is not just your brain, it is also your spine. That's where we get the spiritual chakra system, 7 vortexes that are cerebral and spinal in nature, through which the universe communicates with you. Also, the snake is a reptile. Reptiles have one of the largest pineal glands in all of creation. The pineal gland works with the pituitary to secrete the chemical that makes your skin black. So that snake also represents pride and black skin. And thirdly, the ancient Africans taught that your spirit is coiled up at the base of your spine 3.5 times. And in order for you to reach God consciousness, you have to force your spirit up through the chakras and through your pineal. Your spirit must merge with the soul of the universe, and that's how you reach God consciousness. That's why when you look at most of the kings and queens, they were often painted while they sat in their chairs with their hands on their lap, because they were in trance, in meditation. Meditation don't come from the Chinese people, and it don't come from the East Indian people. It comes from African people. They simply borrowed it. Mary and Jesus, Immaculate Conception. God impregnating a woman and giving birth to a son, that's nothing new. That story existed in Africa 20,000 years before Jesus was born. Nor was he the first famous person to wear the title Christ. Christ is a title, it's not a name. Here's a statue of the original Mary and Jesus. You got Auset, who the Greeks called Isis, Heru, which the Greeks called Horus, and Asaru, who the Greeks called Osiris. Mother, born of Immaculate Conception. God, represented as the sun. Why did the Africans use the sun to represent God as opposed to the moon and star of the Muslims, which they borrowed from the Adinkra symbolism of Ghana? Or the cross of the Christians, which they borrowed from the Ankh of Kemet? They use the sun because the whole universe revolves around the sun. There is no life without the sun, no vegetation, no water, no vitamin D that you need to activate your melanin. Without the sun, there's no life. It's the most powerful thing in the universe that we know of, and as a result of that, Africans use the sun to represent God. What did the scientists just found out a couple years ago? They said the essential substance of the universe is something invisible that we refer to as dark matter. They said every atom of dark matter has millions of universes within it. They said our whole approach to understanding the universe has been totally wrong, because you can't understand the universe without understanding dark